Times, and welcome to ArcNeo Reviews. So, today you're actually going to get all three of this week's videos in one day. And why am I doing that? Because we're looking at some big, awesome stuff here. So, first figure we're looking at today is going to be the 2010 Hunt for the Decepticons Leader Class Starscream. Now, this was one of the more impressive figures when it came out. It's still one of the highest regarded movie figures, and it definitely earns that. As you can see, jet mode is pretty nicely done. Yes, it's messy on the underside. I also realized I forgot to flip down the landing gear here. It has foldable landing gear. Yay! I think every version other than the Legends class Starscream has that. But yeah, even though it's clearly just a bunch of robot parts here, it does still have that proper, kind of profile and everything for the F-22, which I'm going to warn you guys now, at some point making this video, the next video, and the video after that, I will probably call these Y F-22s. I'm just old enough that when I heard about them, yeah, there was still a Y in front of the name. But it's just F-22 now. They're like my favorite plane in the world. They have been for years. If you don't know why I love them so much, go look them up. Stealth jet fighters. That's cool. Though this thing clearly is very unstealthy with this weird tattoo design. Molded thrusters in the back here. You've got your little missiles attached on the bottom, and this is actually very similar to the Voyager Starscream we looked at not long ago, where these are actually, fireable normal missiles, but they also have a way to mount to the underside of the wings for, display and storage. So that's pretty neat. I'm going to go ahead and get these out of the way now. As well as under here, if we pull down, as I know my lighting's being a little harsh on me right now, you get his other weapon, which is the weird missile-y claw hand that he had at different times of the movie. This is also your missile launcher, so you can go ahead, pop one of these in, buttons right back here. One of the more high-power missile launchers, actually, so do be careful when you launch this thing. You will lose the missiles if you're not careful. But yeah, everything else for the jet mode, pretty straightforward. Landing gear, fold up, obviously, since I already had to fold some of them down. It does get a little bit cleaner if you take out that weapon, since... yeah, now you have a hollow spot here, but it also isn't sticking up out from between here, so cleans up the profile a little. Again, looks pretty decent, and eagle-eyed will have noticed that there's a cutout around this Decepticon insignia. This thing has lights and sounds, something I oddly miss in a lot of ways. So, you just have two sound clips while it's in this mode. You've got a jet whoosh, which makes the engines up here light up, as well as the cockpit. Press it again.
You want to defeat Starscream?
You get some very clearly not the movie voice actor voice clip. So, there's that. Now, something to be noted, the transformation on this guy, one, it's been covered a lot, so I'm actually going to skip that. But two, the other reason I'm going to skip it, if I can at least get to the point to show what's going on here, what I'm talking about. When you're folding down the head, I guess, that will happen a lot. There is a button right here that when pressed or released makes the transformation sound. While it's a really cool feature, it also really, really gets old because you're that's just me minimally flexing it. You know, I haven't even gotten this piece loose yet to where it's going to flop around and keep hitting that constantly. So, yeah, I'm sorry for anyone who's wanting some kind of detailed, you know, how to transform this thing. This is a figure that was well loved and therefore had a lot of videos made on it. Plenty of people have done that already. As well as, you know, look at the size of this thing. I'm struggling to keep it in frame as is. There's no way I could keep this in frame decently enough while transforming it. So, I'm going to get this transformed, and I'll be right back. And after a very involved but still enjoyable transformation, we find ourselves with Starscream in robot mode. And, my word, I love this thing in robot mode. It is so cool. It is so big. The backpack, while it's a little bit thick, you know, it stands out a bit, it's still fairly clean and solid. While I have them turned around here, just to get this out of the way, you got weapon storage. You can plug the missiles in either side of his back here. For the launcher, you go ahead, fold this peg to the side, plug it in right there. So, you know, you've got, you know, good weapon storage on them. I'm going to keep these things out for later, though. Really satisfying to transform. It's, you know, it takes a while, but it's satisfying. You know, you're not sitting there annoyed. It's not, you know, frustrating. And actually, not to, you know, praise myself too much here, but I got this guy without instructions. I want to say it took me like 10, 15 minutes to figure out how he worked. Like, that's not to praise me, that's to praise the designers. For as big as this thing is, as intricate as it is, it's a very intuitive transformation. You know, if you understand how a transformer works, you are not going to have a hard time figuring this guy out. So, enough waffling on about that, though. Let's bring him in here, mess up the lighting, but get a nice look at that face. This is easily one of the best done head sculpts of movie Starscream. In this mode, you do have a few more gimmicks. Up here, if you want, this Decepticon insignia is the previously mentioned transformation sound button. Again, I wish it didn't go off every time, but it's whatever. What are you going to do? Take out the batteries. That's what you're going to do. Right here, you can see some of the wires going through that hinge. But the cool gimmick on this guy is when you pull down on this little red piece on the cockpit chest.
No one can defeat Starscream.
Yeah, a lot happens there, but lights go off in his chest, his mouth opens, you know, this bit of the chest opens up to kind of show the rib cage area.
Decepticons will crush the Autobots.
It's really cool. And the best part, even though it's got, you know, an opening mouth gimmick, you can still actually move the head. You can pull the mouth open if you want. It won't stay, but, you know, you've got some options on this guy that a lot of other figures, you know, with similar gimmicks don't have. So, this is one time where gimmicks did not compromise the figure in any way, and it made it that much better for it. Otherwise, for posability, you've got ratcheted shoulders, in and out at the shoulder at two places, so the arm can go out all the way, can even go in somewhat. Worth mentioning for what it counts, at least on mine, this side has a soft, less clicky ratchet, while this one is, you know, makes the sound that makes my, you know, brain do a happy. But you've got that. You have rotation right there in the bicep. You've got a non-ratcheted but still really good 90-degree bend at the elbow. And then you even have a fairly articulated hand. You've got the wrist, which goes in and out, but then you've got a joint right here for the main 3 fingers. You fold that up, and then you can fold his weird double thumbs either, out or in. And the reason you can do that, as you can see on the back of his hand, there's a peg hole there. So if you want, you can either take just the missiles. Okay, never mind. I'm remembering wrong. You can peg the missiles in there, just so they're on the back of the hand. I'm thinking of a different figure right now. I apologize. But, so you can either peg the missiles in there, or you take the weird weapon. That's what plugs in there. That's the problem with reviewing these really big figures, especially when you have to stop and transform them for, like, a long time. You will get confused, but yep, the weird crazy spiky hand goes in. You can do this on either side. Both hands have the peg in the back. So you've got that. And while we're at the arms, there are these little red levers on the inside of the forearm. Those lead to probably my favorite gimmick of this figure. Well done automorph. It just pops out some little missiles from the back of this arm. Flip it up to put them away. And then on this arm, you get his little minigun. It doesn't spin or anything, but it's there, and it looks really cool. Especially when you put it away just as easily. That's awesome. I love that. To finish the articulation off, no waist swivel, because I don't know if you've noticed this. We're talking about a Dorito with arms. There is no waist here. So, yeah, my nitpick aside, I get tired of people complaining, why doesn't Starscream have a waist? A waist rotation? Because he doesn't have a freaking waist. Like, even in the movies, he doesn't bend at the waist. But anyway, ratcheted legs, they can go way the heck out. Way back as well. Then you have your 2 pseudo knee joints. You've got a rotation right here at the second knee. Then you've actually got some back and forth on the ankle as well. And you can bend down the heel if you need to. And you can even, move the toes out or in, depending on what you need. So, overall, while this figure is very big and very hard for me to, properly get on camera, especially without screwing up the lighting, this thing is really, really cool, actually. And, if you're a fan of any of the movie designs at all, fan of Starscream, a fan of Jetformers, either way, this thing's a definite recommendation if you manage to come across it. This thing does still actually command a fairly decent price when I see it being sold. And even worse, if you want to get the Japanese repaint of this, that's that's the one where it's like, I want to say that brand new, it costs $150, while this thing was $50 when it came out. So, there's that. Take for what you will. Either way, this thing is massive and awesome. And the next figure we're looking at is somehow massiver and arguably awesomer. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Which will be in 5 minutes.